She came in with a smile, a fresh notebook, and dreams too big for that office to hold. What she didn't know was that someone had already marked her desk, and that smiles can hide fangs. You'd be surprised how often people confuse opportunity with safety. Just because a door opens doesn't mean it leads somewhere kind. Oksana thought it did. Thought this job, this clean building with its glass walls and morning lattes, was the beginning of something real. Her new life. She came from a small town, one of those places where everyone knows your father's debts and your grandmother's cough. She'd worked hard, stayed quiet, colored inside the lines, all to get here. A design agency in the city. Fast-paced, sharp-looking, full of smart talk and backlit screens. When she first arrived, the team welcomed her, or so it seemed. "You'll fit right in," they said. "We're like family here," they smiled. Ah, family. Funny how often that word is used by people who'd never lift a finger to save you. For the first week, Oksana was happy, or at least, busy enough to think she was. She met Artem, a quiet, kind man who seemed to carry calm in his jacket pocket. He helped her settle in, showed her where they hid the good tea in the break room, remembered how she liked her coffee. And then there was Vlad. Older. Confident. The kind who leaned just a bit too close when he talked. The kind who never asked, only assumed. "I can tell," he'd said to her once, eyes narrow. "You're not like the others. You've got fire." She hadn't known what to say. You see, Oksana wanted to be good at her job. She wanted to earn respect, not owe it. But slowly, she began to feel off. The dreams came first. Always the same. Her desk, empty. Her papers scattered. Something sitting in her chair, smiling. But the smile was wrong. Too wide, too knowing. Then, in real life, the fog began. She'd sit down to work and forget what she was doing. Her thoughts would stall mid-sentence. She'd lose track of conversations. Miss deadlines. "Is it stress?" her coworker Karina asked one day. "You've been looking kinda out of it lately." Oksana laughed it off. But she felt it. Something was wrong. And so, one Saturday morning, she came to me. She knocked gently, like she was afraid the door might not open. When I let her in, she clutched her bag like it could protect her. "You probably think I'm being silly," she said, sitting by the fire. "But I can't shake this feeling. Like something is draining me. And the dreams, they're not dreams anymore. They're warnings." I said nothing at first. I've seen this before. Not the same face, not the same job, but the same energy. People who shine just a little too bright for the place they walk into. And those who can't stand it, try to put out the light. "Tell me," I said, "do you let others sit at your desk?" She blinked. "It's an open office. Sometimes, yeah." I leaned in. "That desk is more than just a piece of furniture. It's where your energy gathers. Your thoughts, your focus. If someone with envy sits there, they leave more than fingerprints behind." She looked startled. But she didn't argue. Then she told me about Artem. How he'd offered her his umbrella during a surprise rain. How he'd laughed when she'd knocked over a cup of tea and said, "Don't worry, the carpet needed a story anyway." There was warmth in her voice. But also caution. "I think I like him," she said softly. "But I'm not sure I'm allowed to. Not here. Not like this." Then, her voice shifted. "And Vlad, he's always hovering. Watching. Saying things that sound nice but feel wrong." I poured her a cup of herbal tea. Let her hold the warmth. "Some people like to collect light," I said. "Not to admire it, but to trap it. Vlad sounds like a collector." She said nothing. But the way her fingers tightened around the cup told me she understood. I handed her a small glass vial. Inside it, water gathered from snow, melted at dawn, spoken over before the first bird cried. "Wash your face with this before the sun rises," I instructed. And stop leaving your drawings out on the desk. Keep them close. Hidden. She hesitated. What if it's just in my head? Then it's time, I said, to clean your thoughts too. That night, she did it. She rose before the sun, the sky still dark and trembling. She dipped her fingers into the cold water, pressed it to her skin. And in that moment, the fog shifted. She went to work early, locked her drawer, moved her sketchbook into her bag, watched carefully who hovered near her station. And almost like magic, things began to change. She completed a project without stopping. Her presentation was sharp. Her voice steady. That afternoon, her manager said, the client loved your concept. Said it was exactly what he wanted. Artem brought her coffee. Smiled. Really smiled. Told you you'd find your rhythm, he said. She smiled back. Her hands stopped shaking when she typed. But just as light returns to a room, so do shadows. That week, she began noticing small things. Papers on her desk rearranged. Her favorite pen, gone. An open drawer she was sure she'd locked. It's nothing, Karina said when she mentioned it. We all forget stuff sometimes. Oksana wasn't so sure, especially when Vlad began showing up again. More smiles. More innocent comments. An invitation to drinks she never accepted. And then came her birthday. She decided to invite a few co-workers. Just a quiet night. Music, snacks, cake. She invited Artem. But not Vlad. That didn't stop him. The night of her birthday, Oksana lit 3 candles before anyone arrived. One for gratitude. One for love. And one for clarity. She didn't expect much. Just a few colleagues, some wine, music low enough for talking, high enough to cover the silence. She wore a soft blue dress. Simple. She'd braided her hair loosely. For once, she wanted to feel warm, seen, safe. The first to arrive was Artem. He held a small, square box, wrapped in brown paper with a navy ribbon. You're hard to shop for, he said with a half smile. But I tried. Inside was a small hand-bound sketchbook with thick pages, the kind you could only find in certain hidden bookstores. It looked like something you'd carry, he added. Not for work. For you. She blushed, unsure what to say. I love it, she whispered. They were laughing about something unimportant when the doorbell rang again. She opened it, expecting Karina. Or maybe Alex, the intern who always brought weird cookies. Instead, it was Vlad, wearing a pressed jacket, holding champagne. And behind him, Karina. You said people could bring someone, Karina chirped. Well, I brought him. Oksana froze. You weren't. I mean, this wasn't. Relax, Vlad said, stepping inside like he owned the floorboards. We're here to celebrate. Right. He walked straight past her, placing the bottle on the table, inspecting the setup like a critic at a gallery. Karina followed, already laughing too loud. Oksana glanced at Artem. He said nothing. Just picked up his glass and sipped. The evening cracked from that moment on. Vlad hovered, always near, always watching. He made jokes that felt like warnings. Comments that looked like compliments until you turned them over. You've grown, he said once, his voice just loud enough for Artem to hear. Didn't expect you to settle so fast. Must be the small town thing. Quick to attach. Oksana laughed nervously, trying to steer the conversation elsewhere. But Artem was quiet. His jaw clenched. His eyes distant. Later in the kitchen, she found him rinsing glasses. You okay? She asked gently. Yeah, he replied, not looking at her. Just wasn't expecting a party crash. Neither was I. I didn't invite him. But he came with Karina. Yes. I didn't know. Artem gave a slow nod. And yet, they both seem very comfortable here. The words stung more than she expected. You think I wanted this? I think you didn't stop it. He left shortly after that. Didn't even say goodbye. The next morning, Oksana woke with a headache that had nothing to do with wine. Her phone had 2 unread messages. One from Artem. Can we talk after work? And one from Karina. Last night was fun. You and Vlad should have danced. So much tension, winky face. Oksana stared at the message until the letters blurred. What was Karina doing? Was it a joke? A warning? A threat? At work, things felt wrong again. Vlad passed by her desk, gave a wink, and whispered, "Next time, pick better wine." Karina wore a new perfume. Sweet. Expensive. Sharp. Don't worry, she said over coffee. Artem will come around. Boys always do. That evening, she met Artem outside a quiet cafe. His face was tired. Not angry, worse. Disappointed. I thought I knew who you were, he said slowly. But this triangle? The secrets. I don't do that. I'm not hiding anything, she said. Vlad, he just shows up. I've told him to stop. He pulled out his phone. Showed her something. A photo. Her and Vlad. At a restaurant. Sitting too close. Laughing. This was taken last week. She looked at it, panic creeping into her breath. That wasn't a date, she said quickly. He cornered me outside work. I was trying to be polite. I didn't even finish my tea. You're smiling. Because I was uncomfortable. Trying to end it without a scene. Artem didn't speak. His silence stretched like cold metal. You trust him more than me? She asked. I don't trust anyone right now, he replied. The words fell like glass between them. That night, Oksana lay awake staring at her ceiling. The dreams came back. But this time, it wasn't a stranger sitting at her desk. It was Karina. Smiling. Holding Oksana's pen. Opening her drawer. In the dream, everything Oksana built was disappearing. Sketch by sketch, page by page. She woke with her hands clenched, heart pounding. She opened her notebook. The one Artem had given her. Inside, she found a small leaf he'd tucked into one of the pages. Green, pressed flat. She stared at it for a long time. Then she packed her bag. And came back to see me. She didn't speak much that morning. Just handed me a notebook and said, I think someone's trying to erase me. Her eyes were darker than before. Not from sleep, but from doubt. That kind of doubt that burrows inside you and starts whispering that maybe you are the problem. I took the notebook in my hands. The cover was soft, worn from use. But something sharp pulsed beneath my fingers. This has been touched, I said softly. By someone with bitterness under their tongue and sugar on their lips. She didn't react. Karina, I said. She's the one who wants your place. Your work. Your peace. And maybe your man. A single tear slid down Oksana's cheek, but she wiped it away like habit. I thought she was my friend. Envy wears many masks, I told her. Some even borrow your lipstick. I asked for something she kept both at home and at work. She handed me a ring. Simple, silver, scratched at the base. I held it, closed my eyes, and saw her drawer. Opened by unfamiliar hands. A USB stick moved. A folder duplicated. Chat logs saved. A laugh. Someone is using your space to unmake you. She nodded slowly. Artem's being blamed for stealing designs. But he didn't. I know he didn't. Then help him. How? I handed her a small linen pouch. Inside, finely milled flour I'd blessed the night before. Whispers in the dark. Protection stirred with laurel and truth. Make something. Bake it. Let those who've lied taste it. Truth has a way of rising when the stomach is full. And Artem. He needs to drink water that's been spoken over, I said. To clear the fog from his mind. Make him tea. Watch his eyes. She left quietly. But with purpose. That evening, Oksana stood in her kitchen again. Apron on, hands steadied. The dough was simple. But her thoughts were not. As she kneaded, she whispered. Let truth rise. Let envy crack. Let the lies crumble. She shaped small cookies. Round, delicate, almost too perfect. Placed them in a tin with a note. Just a small thank you to the team. The next day, she arrived early. Set the tin on the break room table. Smiled at anyone who passed. Karina was the first to take one. Oh, look at you, Martha Stewart with bangs, she teased. Trying to butter us up before the next client pitch? Oksana smiled sweetly. Something like that. Vlad came next. Is this an apology? He asked, half laughing. Because I accept. Even if you don't mean it. He took two. Ate them both without chewing properly. The others joined in. Laughs. Small talk. Loud voices. But Oksana just waited. She kept her eyes on Karina. And it didn't take long. By late afternoon, Karina's voice was louder. Sharper. Honestly, I don't know why people baby Oksana, she was saying near the printer. She acts like she's some creative genius, but I've seen her stuff. It's not that special. Oksana stood nearby, just outside the doorway, listening. I mean, Karina continued, who leaves their desk wide open if they don't want someone to take a peek? Someone nearby coughed. Silence fell for a moment. Then Karina turned and froze. Oksana was standing right behind her. What did you take? She asked, calm. My files. My drawings. Or just the space I worked to build? Karina scoffed. Are you serious? You're acting paranoid. You said it yourself. You saw what I left out. You took a peek. A small crowd began to gather. Artem was among them. Karina laughed. The kind of laugh that's too sharp, too quick. You really think I'm out to get you? Why would I bother? Oksana stepped closer. Because you don't want to be second. You never did. Silence. Then a voice. Not Oksana's. Artem. She showed me the photos, he said. The ones of her and Vlad. The messages. You know what's weird, Karina? Only one person had access to both of us. Karina blinked. You think I? You sat at her desk. You borrowed my charger. You knew the project folders. And yesterday, the director said our concept showed up at a rival agency. One you used to freelance for. Her mouth opened. Closed. The room was silent. You don't have proof, she said finally. This is just speculation. Then check the security footage, Oksana said. You know the drawer that holds the USBs? The one only the team uses? The lock's been broken for weeks. Karina's face paled. And then, Vlad stepped forward. Don't drag me into this, he said. I didn't tell you to do anything. You said I'd be promoted. Karina hissed. I said I'd recommend you. That's not the same. The air snapped. Karina looked around, at the co-workers, at Artem, at Oksana, and something inside her broke. She walks in here like she's better than all of us, she spat. Small-town girl with big eyes and a pity act. I worked here for years. No one ever gave me praise like that. You never earned it, someone muttered. Karina grabbed her things and left. No apology. No goodbye. That night, Oksana sat alone at her desk. Not working, just breathing. Artem approached quietly. He placed a cup beside her, herbal tea, with honey. You were right, he said. About all of it. I didn't want to see it. But you never lied. She looked up at him, her eyes softer now. And you didn't believe me. I was scared, he admitted. Scared of being wrong about you. And scared of being right about her. Oksana didn't speak. She just reached into her bag and pulled out the sketchbook he'd given her. Opened it to the page with the leaf. Do you still choose me? She asked. He nodded. Always did. Just forgot how to say it. They sat together, tea cooling between them. No grand gestures. No dramatic music. Just presence. And the quiet stitching of something torn too soon. The office felt different after Karina left. Not quieter. Just lighter. Like a window had been cracked open in a room long sealed shut. People moved differently. Spoke softer. Looked Oksana in the eye. But still, the weight hadn't lifted from her chest. Because the hardest thing to forgive is doubt. Not just in others, but in yourself. That's why she returned one last time. To me. She didn't knock this time. Just walked in, sat across the table, and placed the sketchbook on the wood between us. It's done, she said. But I'm still tired. Her voice was steady, but her hands trembled. I thought when the truth came out, I'd feel proud. Or strong. But I just feel emptied. I nodded. That's the truth of healing most don't talk about. It takes more than one victory to feel whole. You cleaned the surface, I told her. Now it's time to clear the reflection. She looked confused. So I pulled out what I'd prepared. A mirror. Small. Framed in wood. Covered in cloth. And a red candle, wrapped in ribbon. Tonight, before sleep, place this on your windowsill. Light the candle. Speak your name. Say what you need to forgive, even if it's you. Especially if it's you. And then, don't blow it out. Let it burn down. Let the wax fall where it wants. Let the flame decide when it's done. She nodded slowly. What if I don't know what to forgive? Then start with the moment you first shrank yourself for someone else's comfort. Start there. You'll know what comes next. That night, Oksana did as I said. She cleaned her small apartment, lit incense she'd forgotten she owned, and placed the mirror on the windowsill. The candle flickered, red and gold and restless. She stared into the glass, but didn't see her face. Not right away. Only moments. Artem turning away at the cafe. Karina holding her pen. Vlad smirked. Her own reflection, hollow-eyed, smiling when she didn't want to. And then, a whisper. Not a voice. Not mine. Her own. I forgive you, Oksana. For being small. For staying quiet. For waiting to be chosen. A tear slid down her cheek, but she didn't wipe it. She sat with the candle until it died. And when it did, she slept, without dreams, for the first time in weeks. In the following days, things changed. Not all at once. Healing isn't a sprint. But she started laughing again. Genuinely. She drew new ideas, pitched bold concepts, took up space like she finally remembered it belonged to her. She and Artem didn't label anything. They just kept showing up. For each other. Every morning. Every lunch break. Every walk home under quiet city skies. One day, he brought her a plant, a silly little succulent in a crooked pot. Something green. For your desk, he said. She placed it there with care. But never again let anyone else sit in her chair. Sometime later, she wrote me a letter. You were right. It began. It was never just about the job. Or the girl. Or the man. It was about remembering that I'm allowed to protect my peace, even if that makes others uncomfortable. She'd signed it not with her name, but with a small drawing of her desk, blooming, grounded, lit from within. And now, I leave you with this. Don't wait for someone to give you permission to keep what's yours. Your peace is yours. Your voice is yours. Your space is yours. And if someone tries to take it, smile. But don't step back. Because if you don't sit in your own seat, someone else gladly will. That's what I told her. And now, I've told you, Madam Grace.